right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of Hook the Leg, a wrestling and comedy podcast, really a wrestling and life podcast. I want to talk to people who are outside of the wrestling business, who are fans, who might have influences within the wrestling business and how it's affected them professionally or just in their lives in general. And I think I have a really good guest to kick things off. He is the unified roast battle champion. Forget about Conor McGregor. Forget about DC. He's the champ. He was the first two-division champ. ELI SAIRS. Thank you, sir, for coming on.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
I was explaining before we started recording that I just started getting into the roast battle stuff, and you, Matt Marin, Chris Crespo, Matty Smith, I've been deep diving into all these months and months of backlog of roast battles. And
there's a lot there. There's a lot of content there.
Totally. And what really intrigued me is, as I started watching more episodes, I saw you wearing like a Cactus Jack shirt. Zach's wearing a wrestling shirt. I think Mike. There's a lot of wrestling fans within stand-up comedy.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of. It seems like a lot of it's like a grass is greener thing. A lot of comics want to be wrestlers. I like to say we're just like wrestlers who were born with only the mic skills.
Yeah,
that's how I consider myself, I guess. And I did a podcast with Corey Castle and some wrestlers last week, and they were talking about how it's just the opposite for them. They all want to get into comedy, basically, the same way we all wish we were wrestlers. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think what happens is they bump and take table shots and chair shots and all that for 10 or 15 years, and they want to do something a little easier, and they think if they can do the talking without the acting, without all the injuries. But it's an interesting crossover that, like you said, some maybe unathletic people or smaller people or get into it. Did you fancy yourself a wrestler when you were younger? Was that an aspiration?
I was going to be a wrestler, yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, when I was a kid, or especially when I was 14, 15, yeah, that was just the plan until I kind of realized what I was. And comedy happened around when I was 19 or so. So I was like, all right, this will be the second best thing, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I was going to, my hero was, Jeff Hardy, I'd say, was probably my biggest hero when I was 14. I was going to be the next, because he was relatively small. Right. I was like, oh, see, like thin guys can do it, kind of.
Yeah, it's, now, did you notice that he was popular more? You grew up down south, right?
Yeah, Alabama.
So was that? Is it nice to be represented? When you see somebody with the accent and kind of.
Well, I mean, so many wrestlers are from the South, though. Well, yeah, I love the Hardy Boys. They're just like these I don't know what you call them, Well, I'm trying to think of who else. There are so many wrestlers from Texas, from the South, but the Hardys did especially have thick accents.
Yeah, they're from North Carolina.
Yeah, they're from the Carolinas. It was nice, but the weird thing was the people I'd watch it with was my kind of second family down the street. The dad there was I don't know, they dressed kind of I don't know what the PC way to put it is, the 2018 way to put it is, but they didn't dress manly, They were these goth lucha rednecks. And
yes.
They're hard to get your finger on, but it works, man. So yeah, I'd say so. I like that they were from the South. I like that a lot of wrestlers from the South, though. I was a WCW guy for the longest time.
Okay, that was going to be my question when you were growing up, because we're about the same age. There was that whole thing going on, and I'm from up north, so I was the weird one because I watched WCW.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get into the WWF until they started. The Rock got big and Stone Cold got big, and that whole feud. Right before the WrestleMania, I don't know, 16, 17, somewhere around there. But I always watched WCW because it had Hogan, it had the NWO guys, and then it had the Horsemen and Flair, and it was a stacked roster.
Sting was my guy when I was a kid. There was a point though when just, I don't know, man, WWF just kind of won us all over. Even down there, just with the Attitude Era, Kurt Angle, Stone Cold, it was just it was too much, and we all kind of just went to WWF. But WCW also, man, if you watch these old the Attitude Era is great, but if you watch an old Nitro versus an old Raw from that era, the Raws are pretty bad, and the I'm not saying they're all great, but there was at least a lot of wrestling.
Yeah,
You know,
no, I agree.
way more wrestling in an old WCW Nitro than there is in an old Raw. So, given the choice right now, I would rather watch like an old Nitro.
Yeah, now, when did you start watching wrestling? How young were you when you started?
Well, here's the thing: my parents thought it was stupid, and so anytime I tried to watch it when I was a kid, like we had I forget the WCW afternoon show we had. It was we could only watch it when my parents weren't around, and if they caught me, they would reprimand me, I guess.
Oh, wow.
So when I was a kid, it was just kind of like stealth mode when I could get it. And then there was a point where I just was like, no, my friend down the street got cable. We didn't have cable. So I started watching Raw regularly and and Nitro. And I think I actually fell headlong in love when I was like 13 and I saw because I liked it. I loved it. But then I fell in love when Stone Cold rode the Zamboni in.
Yes.
I was like 13. I think I can pinpoint the moment I was like, well, this is just everything that's good in this world. Like, this is all I want to do.
Man, that was a moment because not only did he drive it in and he hit the ring with it, he did this wonderful gravity-defying, which you can't ever say about Stone Cold Steve Austin. He actually flew over the ropes to get to McMahon. That was a classic spot, man.
Oh.
So when you said you wanted to be a wrestler, did you like backyard wrestle? Did you like beat up your friends and shit?
Yeah. We didn't have a ring. We had plans to build a ring because the family down the street, it was like a second family to me. They had they liked wrestling like any friggin' good parents should. My parents.
Yes.
I love my parents, but the one thing I'll never forgive them for is not letting me get into wrestling when I was a kid and I would have believed it was real. You know.
Yeah.
I missed out on that, and breaks my heart. But yeah, we used to just I try to do swanton bombs off trees and shit, and all sorts of really dangerous stuff. Like Jeff Hardy, almost cost me my life. I think just trying to do stuff he would do, off fences and trees and stuff like that.
I get you.
We had the 24/7 rule for the belt, so we would just be just randomly while we were playing Metal Gear Solid or watching something, one of us would just tackle the other, and then the third person would start a count or whatever.
Oh, you even had the ref. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, whoever wasn't fighting at that time, anyone nearby, you're just
they could jump in and be the special guest ref.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I did the same thing. Not with the 24/7 rule. That's very inventive for some teenagers to do. That's awesome. I tried a moonsault during one of the SummerSlams after one of the Hell in a Cell matches. I did not get enough rotation and slammed my head against the ground, the back of my head. It was I wish I had a video of it, because this was well before everybody recorded everything in their lives. But I was 12 years old, jumping off the couch, and I must have not even gotten half a rotation because I just slammed my head on. It was carpeted, but there was no padding underneath. I slammed my head against the ground.
Oh, that's brutal,
dude.
Good
scene.
I never had the guts to try a moonsault. Swanton bomb, I can do it. I wasn't afraid to do it going forward. Something about flipping backwards scared me. Yeah, man, we tore up. I powerbombed my little brother off of my parents' desk onto their bed.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The whole frame broke and the collapsed. And I left, and I just left down to my friend's house for hours. And I'm like, okay, they'll find it and they'll have a few hours to calm down. And I didn't hear anything. So I'm like, all right, they're not even that mad. And I get back at night and my little brother's like, yo, they haven't even been in the bedroom yet. So I just had to go to bed and wait for my parents to walk in there. My dad scream. It was a nightmare.
Were they strict otherwise, or was wrestling really the only thing that they limited?
I mean, my dad was a Mennonite pastor, so yeah, but also not as strict as you'd think. No R-rated movies, no real scary movies or anything. Yeah, I mean, yeah, what we could watch was pretty limited. Only a couple hours of TV a week.
Do you ever get bothered if someone calls you Amish and you're like, wait a minute, it's Mennonite. There's a whole.
I don't care. I get it. It's a better way to describe it. The thing is, I didn't grow up in that culture though. I saw that culture, but I was in the city in Mobile, Alabama. I was in a kind of mildly kind of hood neighborhood, kind of hood, kind of redneck, just lower middle class Alabama neighborhood. But my dad would do I call them guest sets out at other churches. He'd headline church. Yeah, he'd headline church every week, and sometimes he'd go out in the country to do it, and that's when I'd see the real Mennonite lifestyle. It's like Amish-ish, but not quite. I don't know. They got like electricity and stuff.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I had a friend who grew up in a Mennonite community, and if you ever even joked that the Amish thing, it was like a dirty word. You know, he was like, "Come on, I'm not Amish. I'm Mennonite. It's different." I'm like, all right, man. So, so you grew up a wrestling fan. You wanted to be a wrestler. The size. Now, I did the same thing when I was like 15 years old. I realized I'm not getting any taller. I'm just going to get fatter as I get older. But now I see the guys 205 Live, all the cruiserweights, the lucha guys. Did you ever look back and go, you know what? I'm small, but I could have done that.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's not just size. I'm also a pussy.
That's very self-aware of you.
Like, I don't know. I'm like real thin though, you know. Like,
yeah.
I guess you got people like Zack Sabre Jr.
Yep.
You know, he's like he would look like a regular guy if you didn't know, you know, like that he's a wrestler. Like, yeah, I think now more than ever, it's like little guy friendly, right? Like Daniel Bryan and all that. So yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Part of me thinks that. Part of me still thinks I'm going to go off and be like a manager, and that's like my true path. But I
think that could work because now there really aren't that many managers and somebody with the experience in stand-up and improv and roast battles and all that. I think that would be an opportunity for some wrestling promotion to try.
I think so. I don't think very many people want to get into wrestling to be managers, you know? Everyone wants to be a wrestler. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just ignorant about the industry, but I don't know how stiff the competition is as far as managers go.
Right now, it's a little light. There's a couple guys that, you know, maybe around here that manage a handful of people, but it's like...
Where are you?
I'm in Connecticut.
You're in Connecticut. What part?
Near Hartford.
Hartford. Okay, sick.
Yeah, and we've got pretty good indie stuff around here. We'll have 5 or 6 different companies going, and run,
nice.
You know, a couple different times. But I think it's wide open managerial wise because you're right. There are a lot of guys who I know who are managers, and then they're in the school taking bumps, and you know they're trying to wrestle matches. Hey, what if I interfere and then it's a 2-on-1, and you know, and stuff like that. So just like the comedians wanting to be wrestlers, wrestlers wanting to be comedians, the managers always want to do something else as well. And,
yeah,
I'm a ring announcer mainly, so that's when I see those guys do the managerial stuff. It's always like the Bobby the Brain Heenan in me clicks. I'm like, what would I do if I was in this position?
Yeah, you ever announce anything down here in New York?
Yeah, I've been in not in the city, but outside of Fishkill area, Newburgh kind of ish. So there a couple places up that way, but haven't gotten into the city for a show yet. It's you know, I want to. There are there are levels I want to reach, and I want the announcing a show in the city. I think is one of them. Like,
yeah, there's the best. We go to House of Glory down here. It's Amazing Red.
Yeah,
it's so good, man.
Those guys are good.
Yeah, this Shapiro, he's a great manager. Speaking of,
so you actually keep current. You're not busy and like too busy to keep current with wrestling products.
No, well, I mean, it's getting tough, man. I mean, like there's so much now, but this month, I got my girlfriend into it too, so we nice. I didn't think it was possible, but here we are. Yeah, we do like date nights at like indie wrestling shows and shit. It's awesome. But
man,
yeah, didn't know it could be that good.
You're a good talker. You're not even a wrestler or a manager, and you're talking somebody into the seats who's not a fan.
I put it over for him. I haven't kept up with the main roster the last like 3 weeks, but up until about 3 weeks ago, yeah, I've tried to keep up with everything. I saw just yesterday. I saw the last 3 of the G1.
Damn,
it's hard to keep up with everything, man, but I try to. I definitely try to. I love going. To me, there's nothing better than a live indie wrestling show. Like that's my favorite part of wrestling, and I like it better than watching a pay-per-view, watching anything like that. Just a live indie show. That's just what it's all about, and it feels like comedy. Like when you meet the wrestlers after or during like selling their merch and stuff like that.
Intermission, yeah.
It's such a parallel to the comedy world. It's crazy.
And I've noticed if you want to take it wow, I don't even know what word I was going for there. Simile? No, metaphor. If we want to extend the metaphor to like stand-up comedy, watching it at home versus stand-up comedy going to a club, there's a big difference, and there's even a difference in if you're shooting wrestling, you have to shoot it and they're wrestling in a specific way for the television cameras. When you're doing stand-up, it's being directed to you're being recorded, so you're kind of playing to that audience.
Yeah, definitely.
When it's intimate and it's kind of lightning in a bottle because you only get that opportunity. You're reaching a few hundred people at a time, so you have to have this specific thing going on for them. It's not about like a larger audience.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about it because I knew in comedy, like, anytime you do something where there's cameras, it's just a whole different thing. And I didn't even think about how in wrestling, like, that would affect the performers. Like, they're doing a different type of wrestling than they would do for like a house show.
Yeah, and if you notice, if you go into a show and they don't have a hard camera up, they'll even wrestle a different style. But if they even have one camera, like a stationary camera there, they're gonna, if they pose, even if there's 100 people behind them and 30 people sitting where hard camera is, they're posing to hard camera.
Yeah,
and they'll.
It's that's why I like it live better too, because we went to a house show, the 205 Live in Poughkeepsie, and Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt put on their funnest match that they had to get because they could just fuck around.
Like, oh yeah,
they did some. I don't know how some people. I love comedy wrestling. Like I love Colt Cabana and all that. So anytime wrestlers are like goofy or getting laughs, I'm like, you got me. Like I love that shit.
Because it takes a certain level of, they're not just doing a joke. Like it's like the difference between a comedian and somebody telling a knock-knock joke. Like they're doing comedy wrestling because they're not. They know wrestling spots, and then they're able to kind of twist them or turn them or make a punchline out of a spot. And it's a different style than just, they have to have the base, but then it's a different style.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's comedy wrestling is such a weird, like there are so many little subsets of genres of like lucha libre, or somebody likes the Japanese strong style, somebody likes the WWE stuff. The comedy is, because comedy's subjective, it's hit or miss. But yeah, Colt Cabana knocks it out of the park.
He's awesome.
Some of the Chikara guys, I haven't watched Chikara recently, but back in the day when I was following, they would do, the Los Ice Creams would do power bombs onto sprinkles, and they'd sell it like they got hit with thumbtacks.
It's awesome, man. And like, even sometimes it makes it to the mainstream. Like I consider Rock and Sock to be comedy wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. And Jericho, I thought that was amazing. That was an amazing run. And it was hilarious, legitimately funny. Like,
and they had timing. Those two, Jericho and Kevin Owens, just had this
oh man,
thing
so
that
good.
clicked. There was
Dude,
the
so
first time Kevin Owens called Chris Jericho the GOAT. He goes, "You're the GOAT," and he like pats him on the chest, and Jericho didn't know what it meant yet, and he goes, "You're the fucking donkey." And it was right at the end of a show, and they had to bleep the F word out. But if you got the satellite feed, there's a full clip. He goes, "You're the fucking donkey." He like didn't know how to respond to being called the GOAT.
So good.
So the thing that drew me to Roast Battle, and I guess I'll ask you a similar question. What drew you into it is there's a parallel between wrestling. It's the promo segments of wrestling without the matches, and then you get judged on it instead of like a pinfall or submission. So automatically the wrestling fan in me was like, ooh, this is a competition, but it's like fake, but it's real, but they're making fun of each other, but they're friends, but they're not, but are they? There's a whole wrestling element to it that I just love.
Yeah, 100%, man. I was drawn to it. I was drawn to it because, first of all, I just love roasting. Like I love Greg Giraldo's like one of my favorite of all time. He's my guy, kind of the roasts. I just love that shit. And Roast Battle, like I saw that it existed, but at the time I was just doing kind of open mics, and like I had no idea how to even like who to even ask to do it.
Right.
I wasn't in at the stand. Like no one knew who the fuck I was over there. But I had a friend who was going to do a roast battle, and his guy dropped out. So he asked me. So JP McDade. And JP asked me to do it, and I filled in. And we had I think, one of my favorite battles ever. Like it went really well. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And from the get-go, once I discovered it, I was like, well, it's like right here. This should be wrestling. Like,
yeah,
clearly, as I knew, like my friend Zach Amico is a wrestling fan. We talk about it, and like we before the title match against Amico, we both cut promos on each other and filmed them and sent them to the stand so they could play them. And then I knew after, I was like, okay, if I beat Zach, I want to put an exclamation point on it so people notice me. I'm going to cut a promo. I want this to turn into wrestling. So that's why I did that, basically. So like, I want this to be wrestling. And ever since then, I've tried to before most battles, I've tried to like record a video kind of like promo and put it out there on most opponents.
Yeah, I noticed the stand would upload those in between your title defenses, which is it's a good idea because it furthers, much like wrestling, it furthers the storyline, even though you're not wrestling the match. So you're still telling the story. That's awesome. How long were you in New York before you found the roast battle?
Let's see, end of 2015 is when I was in New York about 6 years, 6 or 7 years.
Wow, and you were just grinding at open mics and stand-up. Wow.
Just doing stand-up, basically. Doing, like, bar shows in Brooklyn and shit, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. Then, I still got a long way to go, but roast, my career pre and, like, now, like, compared to before I did the roast battle stuff, it's, like, everything's pretty different. Like, I still got a ways to go, but I have, like, I'm able to make money on writing and stuff like that. Things are different. I got a manager out of it because my second battle against JP McDade, I saw that his manager was posting stuff about it, like retweeting my tweets, but talking about JP, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So in the promo ahead of time, the day of our battle, I posted it, and I said I called out his manager, Greg, and I was like, hey, how about if I beat your boy, you sign me? And I tagged him in the Facebook post. Literally, like, that afternoon, his manager reached out to me and signed me. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it worked. I don't know how that worked, but it worked.
It's all very pro wrestling. Like, you couldn't write a better story.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, speaking of the promo, because I did want to play, and I'll end up editing in a cleaner version of the promo, but I want to play it to just kind of have the space in here, and you can tell me about it, because I was just listening to it before we went on. So I'll play. I don't know how you feel about listening to yourself if you're one of those people who doesn't.
I hate it, but it's fine.
All right. Well, this is a quick one. Luckily, you only cut the promo for a minute.
Yeah. Curse. Any final words from the champion?
First of all, give it up to Zach, one of the best roasters. Second of all, where's the cam? Where's the damn camera? I know Comedy Central watches these things. Look, I appreciate y'all put me on the preliminary rounds. I've used it as a credit. Now, put me on the real roast battle show, and you can use me as a credit when I take your shit to another level. Yeah!
Oh, it gets better. It gets better. They chant your name. I mean, you gotta love that.
Bring LA out here. We'll show those pieces of shit that roasting is about more than dressing up in a stupid costume and dancing around like a moron, delivering mediocre jokes your friends wrote for them. Yeah! The best roasters in the world are in New York City. And the best roasters in New York City are at the Stand fucking Comedy Club. And the best roaster at the Stand fucking Comedy Club is right fucking here.
I love that.
Thanks, man.
That's
pretty silly.
It is, but it worked. Like,
it worked. It worked. It completely worked.
And so did that clip go viral?
No, not viral. Within, like, all the people who should have seen it saw it. I guess
the
like,
right people.
Within people who are into roast battle, like, or into like roast masters at the Stand, they all saw it. Like, it made the impact it needed in that sense.
And not only did you talk the talk, you walked the walk, because then they had the LA New York battle, and
yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, like I said, I was going on a deep dive, and I watched all these videos, and I was up to like 4 a.m. one night just scrolling through, and
they're addictive, right?
They really are, because they're so quick. And then you get the main events, and the main events are nice too.
And then you keep discovering. I think there are so many great roasters in LA and in New York, like both coasts. That like there's someone when you discover one person, you're like, well, now I have to watch all this person's battles. So you just go into a rabbit hole of watching like every I don't know. It's awesome.
Yeah, I went through all of you, and Chris Crespo and Matt Marin and Maddie Smith, and then I DM'd Maddie on Instagram. I tried the old You ever been rejected by a middle? It's just the most.
Oh, you were trying to hit on that.
I tried and failed. It was I threw my back out on the attempt that swung so hard, but you know, it happens. But no, seriously, you guys are like, I went through and I've done open mics and I've tried stand up and I'm okay at it, but it's nothing like what you guys do, and it just blows me away that you come up with this material and some of it's written down. I feel like some of it though, it's on the fly. Like if you get a good,
Yeah,
you
it's
think of a good one.
to the two, usually, often.
Now I want to break kayfabe here a little bit because I need to know: is it contentious? Is everybody friends afterward? What's the attitude when two people are roast battling?
I mean, almost always we're just friends.
Nice.
It's I wouldn't want to go up against someone I actually don't like. That would suck. I don't know. that wouldn't be fun.
Yeah,
Like it's like wrestling. How you learn to like the first thing you learn is like you protect your opponent or something. Like I believe in like selling for your opponent. Like I think you should laugh at their jokes. I think you should. It just makes the whole thing funner. Just like if a wrestler sells for their opponent's moves, it just elevates the whole thing and makes it funner for the audience. Because it's like wrestling in the like, you know, you want to win, but the winner is not as important as like making sure it's entertaining, I guess. So it's like you guys versus each other, but it's also the two of you versus the audience.
Yeah, and that's the whole other element to me that's very kind of intriguing because you've got the audience and then you've got the judges, and the judges and the audience can react differently to different jokes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
there's a lot that can. These are like I'll never be scared of anything else in the stand-up world. Like I can't picture any other stand-up like set ever scaring me after doing this shit, because this shit is like, I don't know, man. It's nerve-wracking. Like there's so much that can go wrong. Like you just said, there's so many factors. It's like, will the audience like me? Will they not like me? Will I beat my opponent? Will I be humiliated? Then the judges might all make fun of me, and then it's all going on YouTube the next day. So it's like the pressure's pretty brutal.
I can't even imagine telling a joke that like Yamanika didn't like. You know, because when I see her dislike a joke, I know, but when she dislikes a joke, she dislikes a joke. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's funny as hell.
You just like.
Thankfully, she's a fan of mine. She seems to like me, so thank God. I don't want to be on Yam's bad side.
I know, man. Now, when you get an opponent, like how much notice do you get?
Well, usually it's like a month or so, but you don't. The thing is, you don't like spend an entire month writing. You know, like me especially, like more lately, I've had like just more things to do, like more projects to balance, more non-roast related stuff in comedy to do. So I like to have like a month or two in advance of notice, just because even if I only end up writing for a handful of days, I don't know when that free handful of days is going to come along. So that's why I need a month's notice, because I don't know when within that month there will be a few days that I have a minute and I can like sit down and write it, I guess.
And do you do a lot of snooping, or like how do you come up with
you meet up with the person and like I'll tell people everything about me. I think, like I said, I think it's a better show. I'll give them all the dirt, any shit that they want. I'll tell them, because I think it's a better show. The more your opponent knows about you, and it makes you look more interesting. The more like flaws you have, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting that you guys, because I think about it. I'm like, sometimes I come up with like I come up with a handful of roast jokes. I'm like, I'd like to see what I could do against somebody, and then I'll be like, wait a minute, they just say they cut to the core and say the most absolute terrible shit about, like, you have to have some kind of thick skin or some coping mechanism that I don't think I have.
You don't have that? I just don't relate to people. Like, maybe, I guess I'm in the minority with it, but like, I can't even fathom being hurt by a joke someone made. Like, I've never felt a single like pang of any sadness or hurt from a roast. Never once. I mean, it's always I enjoy them. If someone does a joke that I think is like mediocre or lame, then I'm just kind of like, oh, that sucked. But like, no, I love hearing jokes about myself, and like, I don't know, maybe just because I got made fun of constantly in high school and growing up and stuff. You know, you go to a black high school, one of the only white kids, like you get made fun of a lot.
Wow.
So maybe that helped. I don't know.
Yeah, because I feel I guess I have shame. Like, I don't know what it is. I have like something within me that's just like, no, you're like, I think I would just feel bad afterward. I'd look at my life just deeply and be like, you know what, they said some true things. Maybe I need to change.
I just like, I guess I just know everything that's wrong with me already. Like I already think about it constantly. So
The Benjamin Button jokes are the ones that get me when they tell them to you, or like they don't know if you're 12 or
the
85.
gray hair. Yeah.
Ah,
I love it. I'm happy I have the grays. I think it helps. I like that it gives people a topic. I don't know.
yeah, because otherwise you get the what do we get for it's a white guy school shooter joke.
I get school shooter.
Yeah.
I get racist because I'm from Alabama.
Right.
I get pedophile because I look weird. I get gray hair. So yeah, the old thing. OCD. People go after my OCD a lot.
How do you find that now? Have you managed it, or is it still something that's really present in your life?
I don't think it's ever going to go away. I'm much better at fighting it off now. When I was a teenager is when it was really bad because it was like mixed with religion and fear of the devil and shit like that.
Wow.
So it was pretty terrible for a while. And every now and then it flares up and it's terrible. I'm better at fighting it now, but when it does flare up, it's really bad. So, but it's fine. I know how to deal with it. I'm not like if people. I always say like if people would hop in my mind, and I'll bet a lot of people with mental illness could relate. Like if they could hop into my mind, like whatever that world is, if I could bring someone in, they'd freak out because they'd see all these monsters. It'd be dark, and they'd see all these monsters. Like holy shit, this is terrifying. I'm like, what? You're scared of these idiots? And I'd walk up and like slap the monsters in the face, like these guys are fine, like that. That's kind of what it's like for me at this point.
Wow, that's I like that analogy. I like that. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
'Cause you know what your own demons are, and you know.
Yeah, exactly. I just
Now, when you talked your girlfriend into going to wrestling shows, how hard did you think it was going to be, and how hard did it end up actually being?
Well, here's the thing. It's always like, you get a girlfriend when you're not trying to get a girlfriend. Like, whenever you're not trying to do something, that's when it works. I didn't push it. I just said, hey, I think it was WrestleMania 30. I was like, hey, you want to watch this with my friends and me? So we did, and she fell in love with Daniel Bryan. And that's the key to getting a woman into wrestling. Show them, like, a scrappy underdog, like a little guy who gets bullied a bunch. And then they're emotionally invested, and when that guy gets like his revenge, and he like rallies and wins, they're hooked. So, yeah, Daniel Bryan is a great gateway if you're trying to get your girlfriend into wrestling.
There you go. Did you have to grow out the beard and the hair at one point for her? Or? No, you say you go to House of Glory. You in any other indie promotions that you checked out?
Let's see. I haven't been to Evolve yet. My friends go, and I always, for whatever reason, Evolve and Chikara I've never actually been to. We go to Ring of Honor. We went to the one just a few months ago. And I've been to the one at Terminal 5. Let's see, Ring of Honor. We're going to Joey Janela's thing.
Oh, nice.
Friday. That should be good. There was this one FWE that's like, it doesn't exist anymore, but I loved it. The Family Wrestling. I think that's what it's called. I could be wrong.
Yep.
But yeah, one of the best shows ever. It was like, the main event was AJ Styles versus like John Morrison,
Nice.
and the World's Cutest Tag Team was there. It was I don't know.
Yeah,
I used to watch that promotion.
FWE was fun. I mean, there are a couple fun ones around. If you find them, because it always seems like some little show, and then it's in middle school, and like you said, it's a bunch of guys that you wouldn't expect from the indies, just kind of announced in the card, and you're like, wow, this is like a low key stacked show.
I forget the name of the one we go out to in Queens every now and then. I forget the actual. It's at they have House of Glory at the Elks Lodge out there sometimes, but there's another promotion, and the name's escaping me right now, that we go to out there sometimes.
So you're a pretty regular attendee then.
I try to be. I'm not like one of these psychos that's just like always has their seat in the front row, and like all the other fans have a nickname for them and shit. I don't want to.
Oh no, that would be the worst.
I don't want to be at that level, but like, I mean, you see these guys when you like ring ring.
Oh yeah, they're regular fans.
Yeah. I'm regular enough. I'm not like a season ticket holder like some of these guys, but I love it, man. It's like, but the thing is, often it's often a Friday or Saturday night, and often I have a comedy show, so it's sometimes. Many times I've like begrudgingly gone and done a stand-up set.
Oh, I guess I'll go get paid.
Yeah, like mad the entire time that I'm missing wrestling. But I've canceled shows like if they're on like a certain pay-per-view I want to see. I've canceled shows like because I found out it was like on the day of WrestleMania. I was like, well, no, I'm not doing the show.
Well,
That's that too. I'm honest. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, look, that's WrestleMania. I'm not doing it.
now you're gonna be in luck because this year it's coming to New York. So
yeah, I can't wait. I've never been to a WrestleMania.
oh man, yeah, I've been to.
I couldn't afford it. Came out to Jersey a few years ago.
Yeah, that was a fun one, and it's.
Did you go to that?
Yeah, that was the.
It's like
the
Punk Taker and all.
Punk Taker, Rock Cena.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a music nerd, so I was like, Living Colors playing. Oh, like that was me.
Live, that's right. I forgot Punk. Do you do music?
Yeah, I sing and I play a little guitar. I've tried everything. I'm not famous yet. I'm 31. I might as well just blow my brains out, right?
Nah, we'll get there, dude. We'll get there.
Yeah, man, you're on your way, man, because you're rubbing elbows with. There's already like an established generation of the Rogans and the Tom Seguras and the Ari Shafirs and all that. There's like, and Lewis is now kind of. There's a new generation of like regular guys where you're like, this guy's always here, like Zach and Lewis, and you're right there. You're like, you're jumping into what this. It's almost like going into a new era in wrestling. There's a new era in comedy where, there's a lot of really good talent up in New York right now.
No, definitely. Like, especially with like the judges and stuff like that. I've been fortunate enough to like, a lot of established comics are kind of nerds for the roast battle too, which is cool. Like, I think they just kind of see it. They like to live vicariously because it's a thing that's so brutal and kind of like takes a lot of work and like, there's no upside to them doing it if they're already established comedian. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that didn't do Ralphie May any favors right towards the end of his life.
There's really not an upside to doing it if you're already like famous or even known or successful. So like, but what they do is they just become fans of us, which is kind of cool. Like they'll talk to us after and like Sal Volcano is huge. Yeah, he's the nicest human being alive if you ever talk to him. But like he's so into it, so supportive. So yeah, I'm fortunate that I've had these like. Pretty great comics, successful comics. Like I've had the chance to show them, what I can write and that I can be funny or whatever. Like, so yeah, it's changed a lot for me, man.
Now, what is your schedule like? I assume you don't hold like a side job or a 9 to 5 or anything. You're doing.
I mean, yeah, I do. Still, it sucks, but it feels closer and closer. Ever since I got a manager, I'm submitting for more writing jobs and just things. It feels like I'm fine. Like they tell you it takes a decade. Like that's what they always say. Like it takes a decade before you can go full time, and right. I'm closing in on that. So like, it feels right. Everything feels where it should be right now.
That's awesome. I'm sure that's different from first coming to New York. Kind of, you're not.
Yeah, for a year. It felt like pretty hopeless there for a minute, man. I'm not gonna lie. There was a few years where I just like really thought like I just missed it. Like it's just not gonna happen, I guess. I feel like I fucking like literally like the way I've said this before, the analogy I make, like where they talk about like how boxing or something used to be like a way for like poor people to like fight their way out of like their bad life. Like I feel like I was like in this open mic wasteland and no way out, and I had to literally fight my way out of it. Basically, that's what I feel like. I feel like I literally had to fight my way out of complete obscurity to just like regular obscurity. I don't know. I'm clearly obscure now, but like I was like hopelessly obscure before and had to fight my way out of it.
Yeah, you literally battled your way into name recognition in certain circles. You won a belt along the way, so what's better than that?
That's the best part.
When you look at the roast battlers, like the current roster, and I guess maybe I'll ask a question about the whole roast battle Fight Club thing in a second, because now I need to know everything about that. But who do you look at as? I guess I'll give you two. Who do you look at as really, really good battlers, whether or not you would do a good battle against them, or whether you've been comfortable with them? And who's somebody that you just click with when you and them get up there? It's just it's going to be a 5-star battle.
Okay. As far as my favorites and the people who I think are great, I mean, Matt Maron is like probably my favorite just to watch. Like,
yeah,
he's very entertaining. And what I love about Matt is like he knows how he looks. Like he could like just not wear sleeveless shirts and a backwards hat, but but he does it anyway. Like he does it, and he like lets his like he lets those jokes come because he knows that's like to me like very selfless. Like
Yeah.
he's putting the show first. He knows that people can make fun of him with that, and he knows that'll make the show better. So I respect the hell out of that. I think him and like Maddie Smith. I mean, she's
She's a destroyer.
Yeah. I think as far as the like, I don't know if I want to call her newer because she was doing the Fight Club for a while before this, but newer to Roast Masters. I mean, it's hard to top her. As far as like some of the older guys, I guess one of the only people I've battled twice is JP McDade, and it's been great every time. So I'd say JP. Me and JP played pretty good.
Did you battle Chris at one point?
Crespo, yeah, I battled Crespo a few months ago. Sometime in May, I battled Chris.
Yeah, that was a banger too, because Chris is just, I mean,
Chris is a killer, man.
And speaking of selfless, for a guy, I give him so much credit for overcoming any kind of disability, and he can go out there and say, you know what, make fun of how I look or how I talk or whatever. You can call me a retard. He's like, I'm going to come back and hit you twice as hard.
Yeah. Well, that's why when I battled him, I had to kind of like, you can't just like, I don't know, he has a million like comebacks for his arms because he's just heard that his whole life, and the crowd loves it. The crowd loves to see like the guy who was just bullied flip it on his opponent. They love that shit, man. That's why he's so scary.
Yeah. And I noticed because when I was watching, I'm like, ooh, there's certain times when people who have like not necessarily a sob story, but like they come from hardship or something, or they have some kind of disability they're overcoming, and everybody's just they want them that underdog Daniel Bryan thing. They're like, we want this person to win. And I'm like, I think Eli could be in trouble in this one. And that was a hell of a battle.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I also felt I could be in trouble in that one. I think I was in trouble in that one a couple points, but it was great. Yeah. Chris is awesome. That was a fun one, man. That was a really fun one.
Yeah, because he had to. That was the end of a tournament, and he beat Maddie to face you.
He did. He did beat Maddie which is
that whole tournament was
great tournament. There's been a few really good tournaments now, like if you go back, but that one, it's just on video forever. Me calling an armless guy a retard. I'm arrested for that in 20 years.
I was just gonna say, do you ever regret any of this stuff with how policed and gatekept comedy is right now?
I'm just walking to grab a power cord real quick.
That's fine. We don't have to get into a whole Legion of Skanks 8-hour-long conversation about how comedy has changed in 2018. We understand.
It has, but I think time will tell if I regret it or not. I kind of like the show I had before I did Roast Battle, Wildcats, was like an extremely offensive show. So I kind of made a conscious decision to just say it all and get it all out of the way. And like, so now I don't worry about it because now I don't worry about anything I say because if they want to take me down, they're going to take me down. There's a million sound bites out there,
Yeah.
In a way, it's a little bit freeing to have all that out there. Like, I feel like if I do end up actually emerging in comedy, it'll be through something at least adjacent to this, like, so it'll be similar. So if you set that as like who you are, then I feel like a couple years from now, people are like, look at this thing he tweeted when he was 16. They'll be like, well, yeah, fucking course he tweeted that. He's an idiot. Like that. So like, yeah, I'm just kind of trying to set the precedent. Like, yes, this is who I am. I'm a garbage person who says terrible.
Garbage person.
Yeah.
It's a good way to look at it. And also, you've got a good attitude about it because if you apologize, it's like, they got you. If all of a sudden you're backtracking off of this is, this is my, if it's your act, it's your act. If it's the jokes you tell, it's the jokes you tell,
Yeah.
But that's a good way to look at it. Go, you know what I said 5 years ago might have been bad, but look what I'm doing now.
Yeah, exactly. Just say stuff that overshadows all the stuff you tweeted back in the day. Just keep saying worse things, I guess.
That's life advice with Eli SAIRS. Just say worse and worse things.
I don't know, man. I feel like if I do end up making it, it's like comedy. Let's say it's like the main roster. Like I'm fine with being like, if I do make it, I'm a New Japan wrestler. It's just like you can do what you love and not go to the main roster in WWE. So whatever. Especially
nowadays with Patreon and I know everybody's got a podcast or a podcast network, but it's like we're in a new era where people are not necessarily subscribing to cable, but they'll pay $8 a month for a podcast. So you've got exposure in other ways. You don't have to work like necessarily lean on Comedy Central or Netflix. You can self-produce a stand-up special and release it on Vimeo or release it on Patreon or whatever you want to do.
You can find your own fan base. I mean, look, that's what's so cool about what Lewis does, man. That dude, he just like built a fucking little empire for himself. It's like, it's inspiring. Like to just reach out, just find your own fans like that. It's cool.
It's one of the reasons I started doing this podcast was like, selfishly in the back of my mind, I was like, if I get good enough and I interview enough people from the stand, maybe Lewis will put me on gas. But also it was just like, I saw what he was doing, and he's doing like 3 podcasts a week or something, and I'm like, I could do one every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? If he's doing something 3 times a week, I could at least put one out and do something for myself rather than just go, man, I wish I did this. It's like instead of wishing, I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's great. You should.
Because there was a point where you would just top out at open mics unless somebody happened to be there and saw you, and then you're opening for someone. Now, if something good happens in a set or something bad happens in a set, and it goes viral, and it's on one of those cell phone videos, and you tell somebody off in the crowd, and it gets 1.6 million views, there you go.
Yeah. Internet changed everything, and we're still like learning how to do it. I'm trying to think of ways to like I don't know. I want to do something roast related that's not a roast battle soon. Like I'm trying to think like if it should be a podcast, if it should be a web series or what. But like I don't know. I want to kind of keep the momentum going, and like I want to find fans. Any people who would like to watch me roast stuff. I don't know. I want to have something other than just roast battle.
You could do like I know they do like roast me. Like there's a Reddit. Subreddit roast me and all that. You could almost do one where it's like people send in pictures of themselves and you roast them.
That's actually one of the things I thought about.
That's great. That would be.
That's one of the options when I think about what do I do. That's one of the things I've thought about.
And then if they're a certain tier on Patreon, they can do a special one. There you go. You have a system.
Yeah. Got to model it after like the Come Town Boys, man. I mean that's the dream,
Jesus
right?
Christ, they just have so many patrons on that thing. Was it 30,000 a month?
They make so much money a month. That's insane. I didn't know anyone made that much money.
It's not from. The amazing thing is, it's not from a corporation. Apple didn't say, "Here, we're going to pay you this money to produce a podcast." This is individuals donating money every month to a product they like.
Yeah, those guys are great. I've known. I guess I know Adam West, but I've known Nick for years and Stav for years actually. Yeah. They're like it's the most deserved thing ever because they're just so funny. Like Nick. I just kind of like with Nick, like anything he's gonna do, like he's just so fucking good. Like people are gonna show up to listen,
Yeah, and then there might not have been an outlet for that type of show 5 years ago. There was just no platform for it. There was no. Yeah. It was so hard to make money unless you set up a website and you had the PayPal linked and the whole thing, and made sure you had a secure whatever shopping cart on your website. It was a whole hassle, and now it's just like, oh well, I can just put it up on Patreon if I want, and it's a whole different arena. And
I do have a podcast now. I have with a couple friends, and I don't think we're yet at the point of like Patreon. I don't know at what point you do that, but try to build it. I don't know. I'm not good at this, like the business side of comedy. I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I'm not as good at that. I'm trying to learn.
And that's when your manager should pop up from over your shoulder and go, "But I know how to do it."
Yeah. I need someone like that.
Yeah. I think I like the idea that you're not satisfied with just having the roast battle be like your legacy. Let's say you want to try and continue it, because that's like a very Jeff Ross thing to do. Is to take it and keep going with it, because like he was going to prisons, he's roasting people in prisons.
Yeah. He's awesome. Yeah, he's awesome, and he's done so much for like making roasting popular. It's just great. He's doing God's work. Yeah,
the Comedy Central roasts, especially when Greg Giraldo was around and when Patrice O'Neill was around and guys like that, there was a prime for them, and that brought roasting back because it was. it was a dead thing. It was something that you saw on infomercials, and it was like
Friday shit. Yeah.
yeah, it was just like Dean Martin, and you're like, oh no, I have to watch this thing with 40-year-old references, and now you're
Which, look,
watching.
I like those too, but I like to watch those like in a historical context.
Right.
But like they're fun. But you're right. Yeah, it just suddenly became like I think Geraldo. I mean, Geraldo's my guy, man. He's the one that made me fall in love with roasting.
He was quick and he was mean.
Oh,
You know what I mean? It wasn't. There was no pretense to it. He wasn't like working backwards from a punchline. He just had a sense of what would cut to the core of somebody, and then just found the right way to say it to twist the knife.
He was perfect, man. He was an assassin.
Now, is there somebody out there in stand-up that you haven't roasted yet that you'd like to square up with?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, most of the established names, like they just wouldn't have anything to gain from it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I would. Yeah, I've talked with. Do you know Mike Lawrence? Like yeah, I've talked with him about it, and we've kicked around the idea, I guess. But
that would be a fun one.
That would be a fun one, right? But it just kind of never works out. He's very big. Like he has like writing jobs and shit. Like I don't blame him for like he doesn't have as much time to work on it, and like again, there's less upside for him to do it. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Who like a dream roast battle would be? I mean, it would be Greg Giraldo, but
yeah. Well, that would be a great answer because he was.
Yeah.
If you're gonna shoot for the a dream opponent, you got to go for the best.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. It'd be awesome.
Do you subscribe to New Japan or the WWE Network, or what's your?
I have the WWE Network. New Japan, we just watch it when we can online. I don't have a subscription or anything.
Yeah.
I should, man. I've given up on this main roster kind of, so maybe I'll put my money toward that.
But yeah, so for New Japan, I'm almost at that point too, where I want to switch over, make that transition to the New Japan Network because like the shows that they put on and the matches that they have are just, it's a different style. It's a whole different style that's just more exciting to me.
It feels more real. Feels like more of a sport or something, like a fight. And I don't know, man. I love it. Yeah. There's something about it. I was watching. Did you see the G1?
Oh yeah.
The fucking Ibushi and who did Ibushi fight right before Tanahashi?
Was it Naito? No.
No. I love Naito. Naito's probably my favorite.
Oh, it was Ibushi Omega, right?
Yeah. That was fucking sick, man. That was amazing. Yeah, I think Naito's my favorite now that Nakamura's gone.
Oh man, we're on the same wavelength with that one. Naito, my first New Japan shirt wasn't a Bullet Club shirt, unlike everybody else.
Oh really?
It was Los Ingobernables de Japón. I had to get it. It was the first New Japan shirt that I got was them, and then of course I have all the Bullet Club ones now. But I had to represent Naito because he threw around that title belt.
It was so disrespectful, man. I loved it. Where he drag it to the ring.
And it was all dirty. Like afterward, when Tanahashi won it back and he tried to clean it and repair it, like he actually went to like a Hobby Lobby or something like that in Japan and bought like new paint and like glue for the plate and put it all back together. It's like it was the cutest thing because it's like this big burly guy and he's like, "I'm going to repair my championship."
It was the best. I got a Bullet Club shirt, but at a Ring of Honor show. My girlfriend bought it for me, actually.
Nice.
But I remember trying to get, like, I wanted Nakamura shirts and all that before, and I remember trying to, like, navigate New Japan's actual website, but it was all in Japanese.
Yep.
So I didn't know what I was ordering. I was just clicking stuff, and I never, I don't know, I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, there was a whole other side business that people could do online if you could read and understand Japanese. They would buy the stuff for you and then take like a $5 whatever surcharge and for the pleasure of doing business with you. They're like, here, you can't understand Japanese. I'll just buy your shit for you and ship it to you.
That's industrious.
Yeah, because it was hard. It was really hard to get up until very recently when Pro Wrestling Tees started printing them and then they started getting into Hot Topics and all that.
Yeah.
It was And that's so cool because like my friend went to Chicago, and my mom wanted a shirt, and they didn't have it in stock, but they're like, wait 10 minutes, and they came out and they printed it for him and brought it right out.
I have way too many goddamn wrestling shirts.
Yep, I'm right there with you.
It's obscene for a grown man to have that many pictures of other men on them.
do you have a lot that are just the shirtless, wet hair kind of pose?
I'm trying to think. Well, the Rock and Sock one has them on it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what else I have. I guess maybe not. Maybe I don't. I don't know.
I have one with a big Triple H face on it that I don't think I could ever wear in public. It's 90% nose.
I'm trying to see from here what I have. Like, there's a bunch of them. Like, I'll probably remember them after we're done talking.
I have a bunch of Hulkamania shirts that now I'm. Do I wear them? Do I not? I wear them. Nobody says anything. I'm just, I'm conscious of it now that maybe Hulkamania is not the in thing for 2018.
Yeah. My douchiest one might be, it's the one I got at SummerSlam, and it's just a shirt that has like a red Brock Lesnar beast skull, and then it's got the Undertaker symbol on top of it, and it all just looks like a fucking like a tribal tattoo a bro would like.
Yeah. I had the Edge, the Rated R Superstar shirts, and I loved Edge. He was one of my favorites.
Dude, awesome, dude.
And I bought all the shirts, and they all just look like something you would wear to a porn convention. It was just gaudy and sparkly, and like the stars and the girl posing on it.
That's hilarious. Who are your top 3 wrestlers of all time?
Oh man, I Hogan and Flair battle out for number 1, and I think Macho comes in at 3.
Nice.
Maybe Austin has to. I guess Austin has to sneak in there somewhere, but I think Austin and Rock round out the top 5.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I have. I think my 3 are Foley, and not in no order. Foley, Dusty Rhodes, and Bret Hart.
All good choices.
Yeah, I love those guys. I got some weird ones in there, like in my top 10. Because then I'd have like the Freebirds would be in my top 5,
Ooh,
I think.
Yeah.
But then I got Jeff Hardy. I got like JBL might be in my top 10. I got some random ones in there.
You keep the Southern pride alive there.
I have a JBL shirt. I found it. You know how I found it? Because like I could never find a fucking JBL shirt, and then
You're the one person who wanted one.
Yeah, no one loves my boy. Hey, I love him on commentary. I love everything about that man. But during the Mario shit, when everyone was mad at him, I was like, you know what? I'll bet someone's mad and selling their shirt. So I went to eBay, and sure enough, it was the only time I found a fucking for $5. It was $5. So someone clearly just was furious at JBL and wanted to get rid of that shirt.
That's fantastic.
Got that shit. Oh yeah.
That's the strategy now. Where if somebody gets Me Too'd, you just go on eBay and see if there's a super fan selling autographs.
Oh, dude, I have so many Jeremy Piven shirts right now.
God, Jeremy. What would a Jeremy Piven shirt even look like? I don't.
It's got to be Ari from Entourage, I guess.
Just sitting at the desk on the phone.
Yeah. Or his cameo and Say Anything? I have no idea.
So, all right. Well, you are the champion. What is the future of this? Because I just saw on Instagram earlier, when we recorded this, Matt Maron's Fight Club is replacing Roastmasters on Gas. I don't know the whole deal, but
well, I don't know. That's probably the most disappointing answer you could hear. I don't know the future. I love those guys. I know that I'm coming off a whirlwind of fucking roast battling and writing and stuff, and I need a break. So I don't know. I can't really say for sure. All I can say is it's great that they're doing it. I think they're awesome. I support them. I'm gonna go and whenever they let me judge, I'm gonna do it.
Nice.
For right now, as far as battling goes, I have no idea. I can't really say for sure. I'm pretty tired and worn out, and at least need some kind of break. But I don't know. I don't know the future. Have you ever watched? Have you seen video of their Fight Club before?
I haven't, but now I'm going to.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube.
Excellent.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they bring to it.
That's cool. Yeah, I guess you'd need a break. There's only so many times people can call you a pedophile to your face before you just need 10 minutes to yourself.
Yeah, right? Well, that's I'm trying to work on another roasting project. I want to have something else going.
Yeah, it would be cool to have like you and another roaster, not competing against each other, but like pop a picture up in the middle of the screen and you two just throw.
Yeah, me and
jokes
Jason McDade actually did that for a minute. We had like Comedy Central had us do a web series for them, just one episode that was similar to that. It's it has to be a little more TV friendly when they do that though,
Right.
which is it is what it is, you know what I mean? But it's definitely different than what you'd see from us at like the Stan's YouTube feed.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they let me do that. It was nice. It was great. Nice of them. I'm trying to see my wrestling shirts from here. It made me like inspire me. Like I clearly just want to be a wrestler at Skankfest. I was like, well, this is the time to do it. I made shirts and I sold some.
Oh yes, merch.
Fucking cool. Yeah, it was the first time in my life I'd ever sold merch, and those fans are fucking awesome. So I sold a few of them. I have a few left over. And I got to meet a couple wrestlers who saw the battle.
Oh,
and,
nice.
A couple guys were in the crowd and who do a promotion. And now they want me to go out and like do some stuff with their wrestling stuff, their indie wrestling thing.
Oh, there you go.
So like I'm like, yeah, that's nice. That's a nice perk. All right.
That's entrance into the business there.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. Yeah, hopefully, just be a fucking manager. Get some heat from a crowd.
Oh,
I think I can do that. I think I'll be able to do that.
I think so. Now the one thing you might need to do is censor yourself just a little bit, just enough to like get on TV.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they're cool with like just calling people like I don't know what I even call them. I'm jaded. I don't even know what's offensive anymore. Is retard offensive? Is that?
It's swung around. It used to in like the late '90s, early 2000s. Retard was it was pretty low on the list. It swung back in the last couple of years. So faggot's still bad. That's
that one's been bad a while, and you can't say that one at all now. So I feel like that's retard. The way kind of like Daniel Bryan filled CM Punk's spot, I feel like the word retard filled that word spot when it left.
Yeah, I noticed because like I think there were some times where you said it in roast battles, and like that's almost like bringing out a chair. You're dropping that one. You're like, I want a specific reaction from this group of people.
Yeah, I'm trying to like, I've probably said it too much. It's gonna fucking make me lose some kind of job someday, but whatever.
There you go. Then you pull back this. You save this on your phone. You're like, no, listen. I'm showing remorse here. Let's fast forward.
I really regret it. No, I'm probably not. I don't know. It's roast battle's probably the last place you can like just say anything basically. So I don't know.
Yeah, because even like
I'm not out there just saying that like regularly.
No, you just don't walk down the street. Somebody bumps into you.
Yeah.
Oh God, I couldn't imagine living that life where just every interaction is some kind of insult throwing. I couldn't be that miserable. So you think you're gonna go back and judge if they ask you to come back and judge for the Matt Marin's Fight Club thing?
Yeah, well, if they'll have me, yeah.
That's
without
awesome.
a doubt.
Because I like your judging.
I'll support however I can. What?
I like your judging.
Thanks, man. Thanks. The judges, dude, that's the funnest part of it, honestly. Because it's like the roast battles, but with none of the stress. Like there's not as much pressure. You don't have to worry about winning, losing. Like you don't have to. Like I said, winning, losing isn't the most important thing. But like I don't know, like judging, and I feel like it pushes me to be better because I'm up there with like Rich Voss and Big J.
Yeah.
Light years ahead of me. So it's like to try. It forces me to try to hold my own with them, and it brings out the best in me. I think. So I think just judging like every week for like the last over a year now. I think it's sharpened my skills like considerably, and I know my role. I try to go like joke, insight, I'm out. Like I know I'm not like Big J. It's Big J's role to like be funny and like do a bit and like it snowballs and rolls and he gets the crowd like dying and stuff. I'm not that guy. I try to go. I know my place. I try to like real quick.
Yeah, and I like that. I was gonna say your style is you have the. You can try this joke. You can just throw it out there and try it, and if it doesn't work, it's not like it's in the middle of a set or it's in the middle of a roast battle. It's just
it doesn't matter.
But usually, it hits pretty good. And
Usually.
you give a good, you give a fair critique, and then you throw it to the next person, which is really all you can ask from a judge, man.
Yeah, I try to be. I think I'm probably like the most positive one up there, maybe like the most like supportive, I guess. And I feel like if all of us were that way, it would suck. But if none of us are that way, it also is kind of like Jesus. Like I feel like
It's
there's got
just
to
being mean. Everybody's picking on the people.
yeah, I feel like there's got to be at least one person up there, and I think it makes sense because I'm the one who also does the battles. Like I'm the guy where it's like I know what you guys are going through up there. Like I know how much it took to even like go out there in the first place. So that's why I'm always like generally pretty respectful, even when I like make fun of them or whatever.
Yeah, because I've never really heard you trash somebody for having a bad set and part of it, which is that's nice.
How they look. That's like a gentleman.
Like a gentleman. Wow. Who are some of your favorite female roast battlers?
I mean, Dina and Maddie are hard to beat. I think women are better at it, dude. Like, if you look at some of those battles, man, like Maddie, Rosebud, Kim Congdon, there's a million. I like Isabel Hagen a lot. Like,
yeah, there's a whole Mika. There's a whole just extra meanness to the way.
Dude, there's something about it, man. There's something about it where it's like, damn, a female a roast battle with two women is like, or like it's just brutal, man. It's like I don't know, dude. And when they battle the guys, I mean, they're just like they're I don't know what it is, but it feels like they're like a little better. I don't know. It's crazy.
It's two different. It's especially when they have the two female roast battlers against each other. You can see the sparks flying and the people's hair being torn out.
Yeah, Chloe McGovern especially. She gets so fucking like she's brutal, man. That's great.
Yeah, and there are some times when like Maddie will tell a joke to a guy, and you just see their entire being just melts away. Like it hits so hard that he's oh, that's me.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome, dude. Yeah, watching. Yeah, I think like man, there's so many good ones. Chloe and Maddie had a great battle at Skankfest. That was awesome.
That was really good too. Yeah,
I got to judge that. That was fun. I think that went to overtime.
Yeah, they did a one more joke thing, and of course it's almost just gonna happen anyway if Jay says it. And he's like, you know what? I think maybe, and you can already feel it. Now that's a pro wrestling thing. Jay, and I know Jay's a fan. I can see him going, maybe, and one more joke, just quiet, one more joke, and he's like, how about? And he says one more joke, and he goes, yeah, one more joke.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun, man. You don't want to overdo the one more joke thing, but it definitely makes makes for a better story. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like extra innings or anything. It's just a little more. The stakes are a little higher.
Yeah.
I like when he fake one more jokes. Like if there's been a bunch of overtime battles and there was one just really obvious, and he's like, you know what? How about we do one more? And the people that get it laugh, and the people I love the people that don't. They're like, no, they just are groaning. And it's like,
don't get it. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So, this is going to drop because today's August 13th, and it'll probably be out tomorrow, the 14th. Where can people find you? Like, are you going out live right now? What's your current situation?
Follow me on Twitter, and I'll post any bar shows or anything like that. Any dates, any club dates. The stand's kind of closed. The stand, I don't even know if it's like closed now for relocation, but it should be up. September, come up to the stand. Follow me on Twitter, ELI SAIRS, ELI SAIRS. I'll post about shows I'm on there. Follow me on Instagram there, and Toga Party is the name of my podcast right now. Check out Toga Party. Nice. It's extremely offensive.
What kind of things can they expect from a Toga Party podcast?
Well, it's called Toga Party because my friends used to do it, and it used to be about Teen Sex comedies, but. Oh. Brought me on and they dumped all that, but kept the name Toga Party. We basically have our fans send us the worst crimes in history that they can dig up, like like if someone like kills someone and then like fucks the corpse and cuts their house, that kind of deal.
That old chestnut, yeah.
Yeah. That we talk about that shit and joke about it. Basically, we try to make light of the most terrible tragedies in history.
Well, that's very noble.
I think so. Never make fun of the murderer, of course, because that's mean. It's mean to make fun of people. Fun of
just the situation you're making fun of.
The situation and the victims, but never the.
It's punching down.
It's mean to make fun of someone who's still alive, So
So if they got the death penalty and they've been executed, you can make fun of them? Is that it's back on the table?
Tactfully, yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, Katie Hannigan. She's another great roaster. She hasn't done it in a while, though.
Yeah, and I noticed even just going through, there's not a imbalance of roasters in like male and female. It's pretty even. The number is really it's good to see that it's not.
It's a more equal ratio than the world of stand-up is, I think.
Probably more 70-30 towards guys in stand-up, or even.
Yeah, well, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's way more guys in stand-up than girls. And if you just watch roast battle, like it's a little bit more even, I think.
Yeah, and
it feels that way. I haven't.
It definitely does, because even when you're watching the matchups, even if there's two guys battling each other, usually the next one is two girls battling each other, or that they split it and do male female.
Yeah.
It's pretty even split. So Toga Party is. I'm gonna have to listen to this now. Is there a video part of it too, or is it all audio?
No, it's all audio. We're working on the video thing. We'll probably get a video at some point, because we want to put clips on YouTube and shit.
Nice.
We have a decent little fan base right now. They're fun. They're good people. But I mean, they're probably not good people if they're listening to it. Right. Whatever. No, I love it, man. It's a lot of fun. Podcasts are. Do you have any other podcasts besides this one, or did you have one before?
Yeah, I do a wrestling one on Tuesday nights called The War Report.
Nice.
Tagmeadate.com is a dating site for wrestling fans, so I became friends with those guys, and we do a podcast, and it's to try and promote people to register for the dating site.
There's a dating site for wrestling fans?
It's the only one.
That's hilarious.
Literally,
Great.
The guy Steve, I met him like 3-4 years ago. He's like, I was just sitting there one day, and it's like, there's farmers only and all this other bullshit. He's like, there's not one for wrestling fans, so let's try it. So he's been trying to get it into that phase where like Zuckerberg will pay you for it. He he's okay with selling out. He doesn't care if he keeps the website or not if he's making money. So
yeah, that's all.
But we just talk like wrestling news, predictions. We take questions and stuff like that from Twitter. So is there gonna be a Roast Masters tomorrow night, or is that like?
What's today? Today's Monday.
Today's Monday.
No,
yeah.
They're gonna start. I believe they're gonna. Comedy Fight Club happens on Sundays.
Okay.
So I believe Gas is gonna starting with this coming Sunday. I think. Going to start streaming the Sunday show from Lucky Jack's, which is where they do it in the Lower East Side. And when the stand comes back, it's going to move to Tuesdays at the stand. But for now, it's going to be Sundays.
Well, that's cool.
So check that out. If you got Gas, go to Gas Digital and subscribe to that if you want to watch some awesome fucking roasting.
Seriously, I'm definitely going to check that out. My goal at one point, and speaking of different levels I want to hit, is I wanted to do a ring announcing for one of the roast battles.
Oh shit!
I think that would be cool if there was the champion. Introducing first, he is the East Coast West Coast Unified Roast Masters Champion of the World, ELI SAIRS.
I love the sound of that, dude. I love the sound of that.
But it would be
anything that's more wrestling, the better, dude. I think it should just be completely like wrestling.
Lewis embraces it too. Like he tries and
yeah. And the thing is, we come at it. I'm more of a wrestling fan, and he's more of an MMA fan.
Yeah.
And I think it should be similar to MMA also. And I think Lewis was perfect for that show, man. Like he brought such a good sensibility to it, and he just got it. It's just great. I don't know.
Yeah, and he would try and stir it up a little bit beforehand, and get people.
He was great at it. Yeah, he was great at promoting it. Great at. He was really funny off the cuff when he hosted, and he was perfect for it. Yeah, he got it. He hyped it up real well.
Now, I don't know if anybody's asked you this on the record yet, so I guess maybe I'll be one of the first. What do you think with Lewis's fight, up or down? On Lewis winning the fight.
I don't fucking know enough about it. I don't know. Oh, I'm Lewis. I'm Team Lewis, of course, but I don't know the other guy. I don't know how this happened. I see him posting this shit. I have no idea what the deal is with that.
It was he was supposed to fight Ari, I think it was, and then something happened, and Sam Tripoli from Punch Drunk recommended Ryan O'Neal, and then it picked up on. It's like Lewis didn't even know the guy beforehand. They live on two different coasts. You never really listen to the guy's show. They didn't go in the same comedy circles. And now all of a sudden,
They're just gonna fight.
They're just gonna fight, and he's such a good, like, he learned from Michael Bisping, obviously, how to like shit talk and stir the pot, because he's saying all the right things to try and get this guy riled up for the fight.
Let me tell you, Lewis is such an MMA fan. I love him. He's on cloud. I guarantee he's on cloud 9 right now, getting to like just like train for a fight and do like an MMA fight. Like, I think Lewis is happy as shit about this.
Even if he loses, I think he's still gonna be happy.
No, I think he's gonna win. He's my boy. I haven't looked into this at all, but I'm Team Lewis all the way. I think even if he lost, I think he just loves doing it. I don't know. I think he'll win.
Yeah, there are people on like the subreddit for Legion of Skanks who are saying it's better airtime, like it's better for the show if he loses, because then everybody else can bust his balls about it. But it's like,
oh, that's a good point. Yeah. On Skanks, they can give him shit for it. But that's the thing about Lewis. He doesn't care. Like, he wants you. Like, he'd be fine with that. Like,
yeah.
If again, talk about like, the show comes first. Like, he's fine with you making fun of him if it'll make his show funnier. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Absolutely, man. So I love those guys. I'm hoping to get down to one of those live, one of the fight clubs or one of the roast battles or something like that. So
yeah, take the Metro North on down.
Right, I'm not too far away, so it would be a nice little trip, especially like a Sunday or a Tuesday, or it's one of those days where like, what's going on a Sunday afternoon? Nothing. Just take the train. But yeah, I gotta get out and see one of your shows, see a roast battle. I wanted to go to Skankfest this year, but it was like I didn't know what the whole hotel Airbnb kind of situation was around there, and I'm like, we'll see how this goes the first year that it's there, and if they do it like the next year.
Come next year, and I mean, honestly, you can just like, if you have a buddy up there with a car, or if you have a car, you can just like go in and out of the city each night. Honestly,
no, it's not that bad. Like, it wasn't too far away. Like,
no, I was in Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it would be that hard to take a car to and from.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this up because it's getting late here for both of us. Just because Eli was nice enough to do a podcast at like 10 o'clock at night, even though it's the East Coast, and like I would have, if he was on the West Coast, it would make more sense because then he wouldn't be as staying up as late as I am. But I really appreciate you coming on, man, because when I came up with the idea for this podcast and talk to people who aren't necessarily wrestlers but are influenced by wrestling, I immediately thought of the Roast Masters guys and all the roast battlers, and I said, why not go for the champ? If I'm going to ask somebody to be on the show, why not the champ? And
I'm like, Matt, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun. Matt Maron's a huge wrestling fan. I'm sure if you asked him, he'd
I'm gonna contact Matt and Chris to come on either separately or together because they have that show Hand Jobs. Yeah. And the last episode, or one of the latest episodes, episode 7, was Chris is a wrestling referee, so they brought him to an indie wrestling show. So I think I'm definitely gonna reach out to those guys because they're big fans. I reached out to Zach, but I know he's busy with that Shakespeare
movie. He's got a lot going on right now. He's a sweet guy. He would be down to do it when he has time. I don't know how much time he has right now.
I know. I see him on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's amazing that he's doing all of this stuff. Like he co-produced Joe Bob Briggs's thing about the TNT Monster Vision. Like, they did a documentary about it, and he was one of the co-producers, and I was like, or co-directors or something. I'm just like, holy shit.
He's fucking doing it, man. It's man, wears a lot of hats. The trauma shit. I love trauma movies. It's he's on his way, man. He's gonna be. I promise you, Zach will be like a at least cult level. Like, I think he's gonna be a successful filmmaker. I think he's gonna have a huge cult following. I think he's gonna make at least like a couple like straight up just amazing horror, like low budget cult movies that'll live on for forever. Yeah, that dude.
I think he's got it like that. That's his area, man.
Without a doubt,
something he loves doing. You can tell.
Movies this guy's gonna make. It's gonna be amazing.
I'm curious about this one because the hashtag he's using is Shakespearean shitstorm.
Yeah.
So I think it's the Tempest, I guess, but I
think he even told me, and I forget which it is. But yeah, it's gonna be fucking. I can't wait.
And so many pictures of him in drag on Instagram. That's the other thing. Is like during this movie, especially, he got dressed up. He's at least he makes a convincing woman. We'll give him
No,
that.
he looks good in a dress.
He he pulls it off. I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Nope, I wouldn't. I'd have to shave a lot of body hair to fit that kind of outfit on.
My friends wouldn't talk to me again. They're not
I could just imagine.
Yeah.
The fucking collar would pop off your father's shirt and hit somebody in the eye. Oh man! All right, well we'll wrap this up, Eli. It was really great talking to you, man. You are
man.
one of the best.
Oh, thanks, brother.
Yeah, so only positive things for you in the future, and I look forward to it. And yeah, I'll catch you down the road, and we'll have you on again to see what you're up to.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Thanks a lot.
Sweet,
I appreciate
man.
you having me on.
I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Later, brother.
Later.